Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Iain Bruce,
Patrick Kane,
and Adam Scott. Hello.
You can contact us on email at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. So, it's been a while since we were together, just wondered what people have been playing. I'm particularly interested in this game that has sort of made me feel as though I live on my own, called ARK Survival.
It's called ARK Survival Evolved. Yes, what would you like to know about it?
Is this the dinosaur one?
It is the dinosaur one.
My boys have been watching that on iBallistic Squid's YouTube feed.
Have they?
Oh, right.
Is it early access still?
Very much so, yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah,
It is.
So how is
from
it?
what I've seen.
Is it like the forest with dinosaurs?
No, it's like Rust with dinosaurs. It is absolutely a tree puncher. It's definitely a tree puncher. But it's using UE4, so it looks beautiful, but it's not optimised, so it runs on my machine with a 970 and an i7-4990K, about 20 frames.
Wow.
On medium to low settings. That's improved over the last couple of weeks. You wanted an indication of how good it is. It was released during a week I had off, and I played... It was released on the Wednesday of that week, and I played 41 hours that week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is a bit sad and tragic. However, what really made it for me was, within about 20 minutes of joining the game, I found a couple of guys who just met up on the beach, as us young fellas do, and we'd subsequently formed whatever the guild thing is called there, a tribe. It's called a tribe, and proceeded to start constructing our own base, which was great. They were off taming dinosaurs and doing crazy shit, and I was just being constructive, building wooden walls and like a massive gate thing around it and stuff. And I love that because I needed to switch off, and it was certainly switch off stuff. But it is the same as Rust. It's like Reign of Kings without the king bit.
Or the jibs.
Yeah, or the torturing, or the beheadings and stuff. But it has dinosaurs in it, and the dinosaurs are beautifully realised. There's so many people that join the server and say, "Wow, I wish I had Jurassic Park music playing." Because when you walk under a Brontosaurus, it's just, wow, I really wish I had the music playing.
So, what's the premise then? Are you a time traveller, or is this a lost island with lots of...
I'm not entirely sure what the premise is. I haven't really looked into the lore. I tend to ignore all of that anyway. But you have this thing on your wrist that acts as a UI for the crafting menu and stuff and bits. So when you open your UI, it comes from this little diamond shape on your wrist. So there's some premise there. And there's these mammoth... I was going to say mammoth erections, but that would be the wrong thing to say on this podcast. There's like these floating structures over the island that are... there's random ones that appear that you can go and they provide loot at the base of them, and there's other ones that I don't really know what they're for yet. And the idea is you just build shit. That's the idea. You build shit and hope other people don't knock your shit down. Again, I've been very lucky in that the server I was on was kind of private. It was one of the guys I met's brother's mate. But there was no PvP. So we just got in, fought the dinosaurs, built our base, built it more, trained more dinosaurs, tamed more dinosaurs. It's pretty awesome riding around on a raptor, really.
Is there no PvP because that's a game design element, or is there no PvP because you haven't met any tosses yet?
The latter. In most... yeah. By all accounts, it's very much like Rust, where you will spend days and days building this incredible structure and some fucker will come along and knock the legs out, and that's 3 days worth of work gone. And that happens all the time in ARK as well, by all accounts. But I've been very lucky in that this server doesn't really have any of that.
So that's kind of a good thing, though.
The PvP stuff?
That fear of losing stuff.
It is, but that's what made me stop playing Rust, where I did a similar thing to this, played about 40 hours in a week, in a week off, and then real life got in the way. I went back a couple of weeks later, and all of my shit was just destroyed. And that's fine, but I kind of just want to do something and not have to keep doing it over and over again, because I've got a job, and that's the same shit over and over again. So I'd rather.
Yeah.
I know I play BF4, and Elite Dangerous is a bit of a grind, and there's MMOs that are a grind, but they are all moving forward. You don't necessarily go back and start doing stuff in the forest outside Stormwind every time you play WoW. So eventually I haven't played it for a while. I think the server's gone down. I've been playing other stuff, but for an early access game, it looked beautiful and the gameplay was great. If anybody was worried that it would be like the other dinosaur one that was kickstarted and then fell apart, what was that called? Not Savage Land. Do you know the one I mean?
Yeah, I know the one you mean. I can't remember what it's called.
It's in my sodding Steam somewhere, gathering dust because it's just stopped. Stomping
enjoys early access.
Stop that, man.
Yeah, so Stomping Lands got kickstarted, went into early access, and then the developer just went away. So he's taken my money and run.
Went on holiday.
Probably.
Perils of crowdfunding.
But this is certainly proving that dinosaurs work. You can fly pterodons and stuff. You can saddle up megalodons and treat them like boats. It's good fun. It's good fun. If you have time to punch trees, it's good fun.
I've watched this being played, and what I saw was a base was being defended by having like a wooden fence around it. Inside that perimeter were like about 8 other dinosaurs that had been trained, and they had a ramp that they could like live in, and then there was like another base inside that, and then inside that was like a metal box that they all log off in, and it's like that's where you keep all your valuable stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, I also saw there was an exchange between my housemate playing and another random character, and they were attempting to pick him up with a flying pterodactyl thing and drop him off a mountain. So that's the sort of thing you can do in it. But yeah, it seems definitely like a bit of a time sink. I haven't really seen much of my housemate like for the last 2 weeks because he's just playing this all the time.
There's some mention on some forums that it sold more than DayZ did in its first couple of days or weeks. It's been 10 days, I think. It'll be 2 weeks on Wednesday it's been released. And it's sold a fuck ton, which is a unit of measurement apparently. Yeah.
Now I just wonder if anyone will still be playing it once it's like out of alpha, or if it ever will be out of alpha.
I think if it's good, then people will. There's an awful lot of people like you and me that don't really do early access games. So
yeah, well, I think in some ways it's like, well, we've got it to this point, and it's going to take a lot to finish it. So people are, buying a unfinished game, but there's clearly a lot in there to get on with. So
I understand those concerns, and I understand the time limitations, but the developers have been ruddy awesome with patching stuff. They, for the first, I think until yesterday, they were doing 2 patches a day, and they weren't just fixing the doors not locking. It was massive patches, fixing frame rate and adding stuff and all the things that you would want from an early access game. They were hands on, and even the Forest does an update. They update, I think, once a month, and that's a smaller game, but there is a smaller team, and I think there's only 5 or 6 of them doing this, or it's not it's not Rockstar making this, but they are updating daily, and they're doing good, positive things. They're really engaging with the community as well. So,
what really puts me off though is seeing all these reviews on Steam of people that have played 100 hours and giving it a shit review. It's like, that's so not encouraging to me.
Yeah, but aren't they those ironic joke reviews where I 400 hours rubbish? Don't avoid.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly.
Maybe they are.
Thanks
maybe
for your helpful input, you prick.
It may also be somebody who spent 100 hours building an amazing base into the clouds, and some dinosaurs come along, got glitched into his thing, and just smashed it all up.
Wow.
Or they've
So-
spent all that time and gone, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Or just, I'm so angry the game didn't work. The early access
Yeah.
bit was and they have a massive early access sign. It's bigger than the DayZ one on the way in, saying we're early access. Stop now. But no, it's good. So,
I don't think I'd ever
yes.
write a bad review about anything I spent 100 hours doing.
No.
I wouldn't do anything for 100 hours if I was going to write a
God.
bad review about it afterwards.
Yeah, I
What
mean,
the
even if you
fuck?
get burned, it's like, you were doing that for 100 hours, like, for
What
God's
you do?
sake.
You'd spend 100 hours going, this is fucking shit.
I hate it.
hate this.
I can't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. So, yeah, we better move on then. Who wants to go next? Anyone?
I've been playing Project Cars.
Project Cars?
Yeah.
How's that working
it's
out?
Fucking brilliant. It's so good. So it's Project Cars. If you don't know about it, it's basically the next big car sim. It's sort of been billed as like the first sort of like real next gen racing sim, and it is absolutely awesome. I've only sunk about an hour and a half into it. Done a few races and done a few practice laps and stuff like that. It looks absolutely gorgeous, like stunning looking game. Definitely the best looking racing game I've ever played. And it's like iRacing was an incredibly realistic simulator, and Assetto Corsa had the same thing going for it. And with those sort of games, like if you throw like your concentration into them, if you throw a certain amount of time, a certain amount of dedication, like you're eventually rewarded, because something that's like really, really fucking difficult eventually becomes a beatable obstacle, and that's where you get the kind of sense of reward. And also there's like the kind of the general fun of driving at high speeds in VR. But Project Cars was immediately fun. Like fucking immediately. The second the lights go, it's just fun. Partly because it is quite a step above the others in terms of visuals. It's got the kind of next gen porn, graphic porn to it. You've got these kind of beautiful weather effects of like when it's raining and stuff. You've got all these droplets coming down. It's super realistic. Really nicely textured tracks. Perfect scale cockpits, which are really well textured and drawn as well. So the kind of lighting effects as the light goes across like the gloved hands and stuff. It's super like presence inducing. Like just the level of detail in the cars is awesome. And these sims are kind of like a unique thing at the moment. Is they're kind of like a glimpse into what like high-end VR will be in a few years when we're really kind of trying to corner that realism, that kind of photorealism. Sims sort of do that in a cheaty way now, and it's really cool to have those kind of experiences. They are sort of like the only hardcore VR experiences, if that makes sense, because they're kind of doing a super good job of emulating a real virtual experience, rather than it being different reality. It is really virtual reality, and it's fucking cool. It's just really, really exciting to play. So many tracks, so many cars. Last night I was burning around Brands Hatch in a thunderstorm in a go-kart. It's the most fucking hilarious, fun racing game I've ever
were you able to
played.
choose all of those parameters, or did
Yeah,
you
you can just
okay.
choose whatever you want. You can do practice laps in any of the cars and any of the tracks.
Was everybody else in the go-kart or just you?
I was just doing on my own, but you can just set up AI races as well with any of the tracks in any of the cars. So yeah, you can do that. Some of the criticisms I've read about it, and there's very, very few. There's some people have said that the AI isn't very smart yet, which is possibly true, because I'm finding it a bit easier to do well in races than I have in the other two, in Assetto Corsa and iRacing. As fun as they were, I did spend a lot of those races behind a lot of other cars, and more frequently not even seeing the cars, because I just completely
killed myself on a corner and never caught up with anyone. But that isn't happening on Project Cars. It's I think they've done a really good job, and probably because they're targeting multiple platforms, because it's PS4 and Xbox as well. They've done a really good job of just making it work on all the controllers. So, with an Xbox controller, you can have a semi experience, but it's kind of a bit arcadey as well, and it's just instant fun. It's not punishing in the way that some other sim stuff is.
Right.
It's just fucking good fun. And I haven't even got it on like the easiest level. I've got like most of the driver aids turned off, so you could make it even more kind of arcadey if that was your cup of tea.
Have you been using it with your butt kicker, your driving wheel, and your fan?
No.
Do you think are they a necessity for it to be fun?
No, I have been using the butt kicker, and because I can't do Sims without the butt kicker. It just adds so much. But I haven't used my wheel yet, or the fan, just because I haven't had time to set it up. But no, I've been playing with an Xbox controller, completely fucking playable. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely great. I picked up on the Steam sale. It's normally about 40 quid, and I got it for like 22 or something.
Steam sale's finished though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going. Well, it definitely will be by the time this goes out.
Thank God.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd have to say that rainy go-karting experience around Brands Hatch is probably worth 20 quid in its own. So yeah, it was. I'm definitely happy with it. It's I kind of suspected a long time ago that this was going to be, like the one driving game that you really need if you want to do VR racing, and that's definitely how I'm feeling about it. With my short time with it, anyway.
Have you had to turn much down?
No,
VR?
Not a huge amount. No, most things are on high. I turned off stuff like I turned some of the particle effects down a little bit, I think, but no, it's pretty smooth. And I think I bought it just after there was a little update, which apparently did loads for performance. It runs better than Assetto Corsa did last time I played Assetto Corsa. Much bigger team though, so kind of to be expected. But
yeah, I think they've dropped. They were going to do a Wii U version, but I think they've just canned that.
Yeah,
that's on hold. They said, but it's going to be on
a little bit ambitious. It is a gorgeous game, really beautiful game, and like I say, every time I talk about these Sims, I literally have no interest in cars whatsoever. I find them quite boring, but I like driving, and driving cars fast is fun, and it's
when you the VR is kind of opening up these genres, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
more accessible.
Like traditionally, when you were
appealing.
doing that kind of racing sim stuff, because you didn't really feel the speed on a screen, it was all about like your like I was saying, like your concentration on it. So it was like you having to be really kind of focused and in the zone, and that's how you got your enjoyment out of that. That's how you felt the kind of presence of the experience. But when you've got it flying past you, you don't have to fucking do that. It's just fast. And some of those cars are really fucking hilariously fast. And driving them on the wrong track can have some pretty funny results. But yeah, it's so much fun. It's a really, really good game. And yeah, like I say, even if you're not really interested in cars and you just want a fun VR racing game, that is a fucking fun VR racing game.
Do you think it would be fun without the VR?
Cool. I would imagine so. Yeah, I haven't tried it yet, but
so more for people who are already,
So if I had a PS4 and I wanted to buy a driving game, I'd buy that.
Okay.
Cool. All right then, Adam, what have you been playing?
I've been dabbling with a few things. I've been going through a bit of a gaming fugue state of late. Not really into anything, but I decided to go through my pile of shame, and I dug out Sang Froid or Sang Froid. I don't know exactly how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I've heard of this. Really, I think I've got it actually.
Yeah, I think most people probably have got it in the Steam somewhere. It's an indie game from last year. And it's a nice little mashup of different styles. It's a game about two brothers who are defending their sister in this hut in the Canadian outback, basically, and this sort of snowy, foresty terrain. And basically every night they are increasingly beset by waves of wolves, werewolves, and mycans, who are these kind of magically enhanced versions of werewolves and so on, because of an evolving story that's going on the ground and in the background, which is pretty much just a Deus Ex Machina for throwing more werewolves at you. So there's a cycle where you defend yourself during the night, and then during the day you lay traps and tool up and go into town and get more ammunition and upgrade your weapons and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of part tower defense, part strategy, part whack him in the face with an axe, which is and it's just kind of good fun. You know, the thing is, it's all set around like the early 1900s. So you know, there's no assault rifle or anything. You fire a musket, which has to be reloaded after every shot.
Cool.
So you can get but there's a really they've played lots of little nice mechanics in the game. So one of the big mechanics they're playing with is the fear factor. So depending on how many wolves are facing you and what kind of wolves or werewolf mixes they are, they may be more or less frightened of you. And when your fear factor is the same as theirs, they will attack you. But if you can keep their fear factor higher than yours, then they'll keep their ground and, you know, pace around you and stuff. During which time you can, reload your musket and take aim and fire, and you can do headshots and stuff like that. But sooner or later they will come and attack you, and you can set fires which increase the fear factor as well. But all of these traps cost action points, which you spend during the setup phase, if you like.
Right.
And I've never really found a time. You know, with a lot of these strategy games, there comes a point where you've kind of crested the curve of the economy, if you like, and you've got either bags of money or bags of points or stuff, and you can just fuck it, I'll just put 5 of these and 6 of them and one of those.
Yeah.
I'm about halfway through. It's not a massive game. I think I'm on level 10 or 11, I'm really sort of struggling. The strategies, every night they come in waves, and you might have 2 or 3 different waves, and the map expands over the course of the game. As the story unfolds, you unlock new bits of the map, and each bit of the map has got a different building in it that has to be defended. So right. Your strategy then becomes about, because of the tools available to you, you know where the wolves are going to spawn and where they're going to attack, what their target is. But you can use firewalls to block off bits of the terrain and lay traps to slow them down, or lay bait that they will then come and feed on. And when you've got 3 of them on this spike trap, a huge set of spikes comes up from the ground and impales them all. But you've got to balance laying the traps around with actually bombing around the map. And you can use towers and stuff to get across, like zip lines. And basically every few levels you get new tools and stuff to do. And it's the first game in ages that I've stopped, and I've had to, when I've stopped playing it, I'm thinking on the bus about, that didn't go so well, that one. What did I do wrong? Because you're stressed, because you have a plan, like, okay, the first wave, I've got to defend it. I'll funnel them all into this thing using firewalls, and I'll basically just chop them up here, and I'll save my traps for the laser wave when the big ones are coming. But different wolves and different mycans and stuff, they're immune to different traps, and so you can't use the same trap for everything else, and it's really quite nicely put together. And I've just enjoyed it because it's just a change of pace. I'm not running around shooting anyone in the face or flying a spaceship. It's not a fucking 120-hour marathon game that I'm never going to see the back of. It's just a little compact story where you just have to use your brain, and then when the chips are down and they've evaded all your traps because you laid them in the wrong place because you're an idiot, then you have to try and smash them in the face with an axe before they smash down your church or something. So the real mashup of styles is really nice. I think it was nominated for the best indie video game category last year or something.
I think it was one of Eurogamer's best of the year or something. One of the guys on there, Christian Donlan, I think he.
I mean, if you've got loads of stuff on your plate, then I'm not going to say, drop everything and go and play it. But I think it's worth, if you're in one of those kind of moods, as we all are sometimes, just like don't really know what to play. It's worth checking out. I mean, every Steam sale, it's on there for about £2 or something, and it's worth £2 of anyone's money, in my opinion. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. The art style's very cartoony. The voice acting's not great, if I'm honest, and the plot is a little bit on the silly side. But the devil is trying to take over a set. But like I said, that's the Deus Ex Machina for getting you just to lay the traps and fight the stuff that's going on. But yeah, I would recommend it if you haven't got anything better on your plate. It's well worth a little bit of time, I would say.
There's a demo on Steam as well, if you're not sure. But it's always going cheap. Reminds me a bit of like Giants, maybe the fact that there's like a strategy element, and you're also sort of manually taking part, sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
In an action sort of role.
It's just nice to try and you've got, because of limited resources. I've never felt super rich, so I've had to manage what I'm using, and because it's single shot stuff, you buy your bullets individually. You don't get like a mag full of 30 armor werewolf piercing clips. You can get silver bullets. You can go to the convent and get your bullets blessed by a nun who then makes it effective against werewolves, does extra damage and stuff. And you can use your scent. You can see which way the wind is blowing, and you can use your scent to lure werewolves away from certain areas. Like they'll smell you, and then they'll come hunting for you, which is good for luring them into more traps.
Cool.
So Giants isn't a bad sort of. You can see some of the DNA in that kind of play, because it, like I said, it's a mashup of a number of different things, it's just a lot of fun and quite different. So.
Do you have to be like really sort of? Is time quite a factor then, because you've only got a certain amount of time to plan, or is that almost turn-based?
You can spend as long as you like planning. Effectively, the day during the day you can lay all your traps. You can recover them all if you've wanted a different thing. You can go to the town and buy more gear. You can sell stuff. You're not under any pressure to lay stuff out within a certain time frame. But once you've laid your traps and you say begin the night, you can't do any more. You can't lay any more traps. So basically, either everything goes to plan, or it doesn't.
Or it goes to hell.
It doesn't quite often, actually. Well, it does for me anyway. But it's quite good fun, because the thing is, you can say when you have to lay these traps, it's like, well, this is what I hope is going to happen, and they're going to come this way, and I'm going to put them in there. But then inevitably, you don't get all the wolves you wanted to get, and some of the werewolves slip through, and you've got to improvise, and that's where half the fun is. It's trying to get your strategy for the whole night back on track. So you improvise for one wave, and then hopefully the second wave will go more to plan. But then, normally you've got to be somewhere else on the map, so you've got to get there as quick as possible to get to a certain point to set up your next ambush and stuff. So it's quite tense once it all goes on, but it's really good fun.
Cool. Well, I have mostly been playing The Witcher, still playing that, and GTA 5. I think I'm about halfway through both of them, and I've just had to sort of give in to my usual thing where I have to just play one game till I finish it, because both these games are just too fantastic. I'm equally pining to play either one. I'm loving The Witcher, the whole sort of I forgot about how sort of gothic horror it is, like, and the fact that like they riff off all these old like nursery rhymes and stuff, and all that kind of like folklore and stuff that True Blood kind of used to do a little bit of, all that sort of crazy fantasy. And I just love the density of the game, because like Dragon Age was so sparse compared. In Witcher, you're like constantly stories, even the smallest incidental character is just always delivering like awesome dialogue.
Do you mean Inquisition for the Dragon Age?
Okay. In Dragon Age, it was all like you had to read everything pretty much, apart from the course and the companions. In The Witcher, like everyone's got something to say, even the smallest like little child who's it's just brilliant. The density of content in there is mind blowing. And I'm loving the whole switching between the three characters in GTA. I've been playing a bit of that online. Haven't done any heists yet, although Radders was kind enough to take me through the whole buying my apartment thing.
Excellent.
I think I'm level 11 now, so I've only got one level to go. I also sorry, I'm being greedy here, but I'm not going to ask for any more time. But yeah, I had a little look. I had a little look of Elite Power Play. I only played. I've only sat down with it once. It's really interesting. It's kind of overwhelming. Like they throw quite a lot of stuff at you in terms of like how you deal with like control and expansion and everything. But to me, I think ultimately it's just another layer on top of the skeleton of Elite that just gives you more to do. Really, you can get involved in all the conquest stuff, but it's not something you can just sit down of an evening and really get your head around. You sort of need you need to be really invested in it, I think, to get anything out of it. And yeah, you get like, so you're doing missions, but you're getting it's basically like they've overhauled the reputation system, so you're grinding rep at the same time as making money. So it's kind of a bit more efficient, I guess, to do that. I've allied with Devour, I think, one of the ones that gives you a bonus on bounty hunting. I figured that would make sense because that's mostly what I've been doing.
He's one of the Empire guys, isn't he?
No, it's one of the girls. It's Lavini. I might be getting it wrong. There's two of them. They've got the same name, not the same surname. Okay. But anyway,
is it the Kerfuffle Bums? Is it them?
Yeah, it's that lot. Yeah. Yeah. So I've just been like I've just had those 3 games on rotation almost. I'm not really Elite, but yeah, the only game I've kind of been. The only other new game, I suppose, that I haven't already talked about is Fallout Shelter, which is the mobile game that Bethesda released for iOS during their E3 conference. And it's basically Tiny Tower, but you're digging down. You're digging down, and it's much more nicely presented, to be honest. It's really nice 3D, reminds me of the base bits of XCOM. But it's quite amusing because basically they have fallouted it massively. So it's quite well thought out. I think the way that radiation and health work is going to is taken directly from Fallout 4. So you basically try and attract people to your bunker and make them have babies and put them to work. And yeah, they just exist. But it's kind of like, and it's all about just trying to keep them all happy. Because yeah, it doesn't take long for them to get a little bit sort of peed off with the whole situation, to be honest, because you're stuck underground after the bombs have gone off. So yeah, but I just started my second vault today because the first one just went horribly wrong. Everyone hates me. And yeah, it's quite a nice little mobile diversion for when I don't have any connectivity to play Hearthstone.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
that's it.
And that's about all I've been playing.
I would like to just say about the heists in GTA Online. They are one of the best gaming experiences I've probably had, to be honest.
Really?
The way they're strung together, the genuine stress and anxiety with the final one, where you've got deadlines and everybody has to be in the right place at the right time to pull stuff off, and the shit hits the fan in ways that you don't expect, that you aren't briefed on, and you just have to deal with it. They're just awesome. They are really awesome. Obviously, they take a while to get through, and finding the right people to play them with can be a bit of a chore.
Yeah, I've not played the heist, as I said, but when like you've got a mission where you've got to get in a plane, and fucker just gets in the plane and fucks off, it's like, oh thanks. Yeah. We'll just stay here then.
And if you've had to reinstall GTA 5 recently, it's 60 gig. It took me 2 days on a 100 meg connection, and it's still crashing. That's a bit of a chore.
Why did it take so long?
I don't. Well, it's the Rockstar delivery method, which is somewhat unique in its tardiness and shitness, and it's 60 gig, and frequently it'll just slow to a crawl. Not downloading any dwarf porn or anything, it will just grind to a halt.
Can I recommend something that I've been using, because I generally play games off my solid state when possible,
mm-hmm.
but because GTA is such a massive bastard of a game, I use an app called Steam Mover that you can use to edit the junction points or whatever they're called, and you can push the game from one drive to another quite easily without having to uninstall it and reinstall it again.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know if that might help maybe, but I've been using it just because
I don't have room on my solid state, so. But no, it's good.
Yeah, well,
it's good.
It's taken up like over half of my solid state drive. Yeah. So I just was like, I wouldn't mind seeing what Alien's like, and because I've been shopping, but I had no room on my solid state drive, so. Yeah. So that's what if you're doing the online stuff and you haven't got to the heists yet, and you can find 3 other people that will play it with you. I'm playing with Ratchet, friend of the show, and we have it for the 2 of us. I think it's probably funnier than the experience we had with Portal 2, where we just got to a point where we couldn't breathe from laughing. Some of the shit that happens in this game is just hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Yeah. And I'm ashamed to say that about a GTA game, because I remember not so long ago I was on it's a granny murdering simulator bandwagon, but it's just a beautiful, funny game.
It's not a bandwagon, it's a noble cause, Ian.
Is it? Right.
What's hilarious
is that what the Mail is calling it this week? Okay.
No, but it is even the time. I've not done any of the heists with you yet, Ian, but we have played a bit, and like that bit where we were all in the car, and you were in the front driving, and we're all in first person, and there's like me and Matt in the back, and you and Radders in the front, and we're all like pointing our guns at each other, and it's like, are we there yet?
And that's not even part of the game. That's us just fucking around in the world. And for me, that's always the best kind of games, like with Loki's Minions, when many years ago, or whichever, like a grapple hook game in Quake 2, where you and I, Adam, we were just grappling to the top of the building and then just jumping off.
Yeah.
That's not part of the game. It's just something we could do.
Yeah, it's emergent gameplay. Early days of emergent gameplay. Absolutely. We jumped off and then we tried to launch our grapples so that we wouldn't hit the ground and splat, if I seem to remember correctly.
Yes.
Try and timing the grappling so we would.
I'm also fairly sure we were not of our right minds at the time.
We were not of our right minds at all.
It's always for the best.
That was funny. Can I just ask about this GTA stuff?
Yeah.
Because my abhorrence of the medium aside, playing the multiplayer stuff, is there?
Yes.
Do you have to have? I don't know how this works. Do you have to have leveled a character somewhat? Is it gated by that, or can you just buy the game and play with everybody, or what?
There's like a lobby, which is the normal game world, and you can just drive around that and shoot people, which is bloody annoying, but can be bloody funny. But it uses a sanity system, so the more people you shoot, your sanity decreases, and at some point you'll get a bounty on you for having just killed randoms in the lobby world, if you like. It's an enormous world, it's the full game world, so you can just get some mates in and go down to the beach and drive people over, or just go for a drive in a car and earn XP doing that. And that's a beautiful thing to do, definitely. However, what makes it really work is there are a ton of game types that are either available as glowing blue circles in the world. You can just walk into and it will say you can start this mission here, or you can choose them from a menu. And I think there's probably hundreds of these different missions.
And you can make more.
You can make your own. There's different game types. There's deathmatch and team deathmatch and all that bollocks. But the races and the more specific missions, which are there's the Lost, who are the biker gang from GTA 4. They've stolen something, and you need to go and destroy 3 of their vans to find the thing that they've stolen. And
or the person.
Yeah, and the vans will just be driving around the world, and so your team of 2 or 4 or 12 have to split into their own teams and start taking their own thing out, and there'll be a timer running. So this is quite good when there's 12 people who don't know each other, because if you're on a PC, buy a fucking mic, for Christ's sake. There's people who have mics and who are not afraid to go, let's go this way. You quickly form these quite good units of people working together, which I was extremely surprised about. I'm quite used to that from Battlefield and Red Orchestra and PlanetSide and stuff, but I just wasn't expecting that with GTA at all. But you get it all the time. We've made loads of friends, Radders and I, who this guy will be a dick, and then 20 minutes later he's on your friends list because he saved your life when a helicopter's about to land on you or something. So the there's a lot of diverse missions. Some of them are available at the start. Some of them become more available when as you level up. But
right, okay.
The lobby system for the missions is somebody starts one and they advertise it in the world they're currently in, so anybody can join that mission. So if you're level 1, you can join any mission. You may not have decent guns and stuff, but you don't have to level for hours to access the content.
Okay.
And you keep leveling as well. The cap is like ludicrous, or is there even a cap?
Not really
or
sure. Fairly sure. There's a fair amount of hacking going on at the moment, including lovely people giving you bags of cash. Thanks everyone that did that. I've spent it wisely. But there's a lot of people can spawn UFOs and massive mountains in the middle of the city, and that's a little bit tedious. But it's being fixed. It's even just to pop in for 20 minutes. I'm just finding it a great experience. Really lovely. Just driving around the city.
It's a very like easy sort of 5-minute fix.
Yeah.
But you could also play it for hours. I quite enjoyed the race we did, Iain, where it was like just round that track, and like there was people in there just weren't even racing, just sat there with a rocket launcher, just taking pot shots. It's like it just went completely Mad Max.
As well as the different hundreds of missions, you can also make your own races. So there is a race, like a level editor that lets you make a race anywhere in the world, and you can build ramps up to the sky and all kinds of weird shit. And they're all really funny. But for me, and probably for Adders, and for a lot of other people, there is a race around a very small racetrack. So it's like Indy 500 or NASCAR, and you just go round in a circle. But
it's like with Mario Kart style pickups and stuff.
Yeah, there's different kinds of race game modes. You can have a normal race where you can crash into each other, a non-contact race, a team version of those, and a GTA race where you get these power-ups like Wipeout that will give you rockets or speed or repair you. And for some reason on this tiny little track, this becomes the most hilarious thing ever. Especially when there's 30 people on this tiny little track. Very quickly, people who are racing will give up and start going the other way because they just don't fucking care anymore. And they just want to kill as many people as they can. And it is just hilarious. If you turn the police on so the police get on the track as well, you've then got 30 bikes and cars mixed with all these idiotic AI police driving around the track the wrong way, getting out of the cars, trying to shoot you, somebody running them over, then being tossed in the air, landing in front of you, your bike goes over them, you've jumped out of the circuit completely, you have to restart at the last checkpoint. It's just hilarious. I quite liked how I was on like in a 4x4 like Bigfoot sort of truck, and the fuckers in the go-karts go right under your wheels and flip you over. Yes.
Fuckers. Yeah, so I was like, I know what vehicle I'm spawning as next.
It's definitely for me and Radders, it's definitely become our BF4 replacement, where we would play BF4 every week, and now all we're playing is GTA 5 online, and that's been since it came out, really. Whenever we look up, that's all we're playing. So
cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's awesome. This has been the Not Playing Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk. You can contact us on email at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Music by Miracle of Sound. And that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya. Bye bye.
Bye bye.